I'm a classically trained ballet dancer. Now I guess I'm a rugby player.
You had never played rugby before.
If you would have told me I was going to play rugby, I would have laughed in your face.
You feel like your training in ballet has come into play in your rugby career?
I definitely think so, especially when we're doing high kicks and oil rigs.
Yeah.
Everyone is like, what the fuck? But ballet is very disciplined. It's very calculated and clean. And so rugby isn't always so clean.
I think rugby is ever clean. Like, it's always organized.
Exactly.
I say it's organized chaos, and that's always what it is.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Gay Rugby Podcast. We are here in beautiful, sunny Palm Springs, California for the Rucktacular Rugby Tournament, and we're joined by Gabe from the Phoenix Storm. Gabe, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you.
So I've only played one match. I played in the trans match today. I think for us, our focus was getting rookies some playing time. I've been playing this for a couple years, let the new guys have a run at it. But yeah, out of our 3 matches, we won every single one. So I'm pretty happy.
Love to hear it.
Wait, you won every single match? That is amazing. Congratulations. That might mean that you won Rucktacular. I don't know.
I hope so. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
Oh, so you think you're better than us? That's what I'm hearing.
We love the rebellion.
Okay, we're going to fight right now. Just kidding. How was your travel out to Palm Springs from Phoenix?
It was good.
Did all of you guys come in a caravan? Or did some of you guys fly?
I think some people flew. I think the majority of us drove. I like to think are a very organized team. I like to run a tight ship. So we did have a bunch of folks carpool. Everyone sent a little car selfie. I'm on the way. So yeah, majority of folks drive. I think it's pretty close. Not too bad.
How long is that drive?
4-ish hours.
Took me 5 hours to get here.
So
during rush hour traffic from Los Angeles.
Terrible.
So not a bad drive. And Gabe, how did you start playing rugby?
So I actually heard about it from someone that I work with. And he said, you should come check it out. And transparently at the time, had a little bit of a crush on him. And as it goes. And so I came out and joined the team in October, November of 2023.
Okay.
And I'm not somebody who can half-ass anything. So I joined, and within 6 months, I was on the board and starting to kind of help out. But it's been just a fantastic journey. I think if you would have told me I was going to play rugby, I would have laughed in your face. So
you had never
ago.
played rugby before?
I'm a classically trained ballet dancer, so this is
oh, wow.
a little bit different than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I guess I'm a rugby player.
This might be an interesting question. Do you feel like your training in ballet has come into play at all in your rugby career?
I definitely think so. I was gonna say, especially when we're doing high kicks and oil rigs.
Yeah.
Everyone is like, what the fuck? But I do think that. Especially the discipline aspect of it. Ballet is very disciplined. It's very calculated and clean. And so rugby isn't always so clean, but I do think that that training
I don't think rugby is ever clean. It's always organized.
Exactly.
I say it's organized chaos, and that's always what it is.
I'd agree.
So you said you played in the trans match. This was the first trans match that we have at Rucktacular. So that's awesome. Did anyone else from your team join?
Yes, yeah. We had a couple of other folks join and play, some community members, some allies. I myself identify as non-binary, so I was really happy and excited to see that this was a thing. We went to NORAM, and I didn't participate because I felt like I didn't want to take up that space, but they needed folks. My coach signed me up to lock. It's been a minute since I locked, but I think it's great to really continue to push and share trans inclusion, especially now more than ever. I think with everything going on in the world, in the United States.
Especially, yeah.
We say this all the time, and we've said this in some of our other interviews with teams that are here this weekend, and it's that we have a duty, the greater LGBTQ community, to make sure that we are advocates for our trans and non-binary brothers and sisters, especially now that they are under attack.
And siblings.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Phoenix Storm, when did the rugby club start?
So we started in 2004.
Okay.
So in 2024, we celebrated 20 years.
Wow.
Which is huge. I especially think when you think of a state like Arizona, I don't think that you're gay people or like rugby. But I'm also relatively new to Arizona. I moved there like a couple months before I joined the team. And I think I've been super pleasantly surprised by how strong the community is out there. But yeah, we've been around, going on 22 years. And
Incredible.
from what I hear, it has not always been 40 plus guys coming out to practice. But I think we've really built something special, especially in the last few years. I've seen it grow and grow and grow.
What do you think the biggest catalyst for that growth was? Have you been recruiting at the bars, creating content on social media? How have you been recruiting people to join?
Yeah, I think honestly, the way that we've had the most success in recruiting is word of mouth. We have had people. We have Charlie's our big sponsor, shout out. We do a lot of Jello shots, which I think is a common thing for rugby clubs.
Oh yeah.
So we have recruited some folks that way. Also, we participate in like Pride. We've done the parade. We volunteer. And so I think honestly, though, the majority of folks have come from they know someone on the team or they knew someone on the team. Yeah. Because it can be really intimidating, right? You're coming out to this place, maybe you've never played a sport, right? Rugby is for everyone. Yeah. And so like, if I didn't know someone on the team, I probably, would have been too like nervous to come out and play. But yeah, that's been kind of our main.
Or had a crush on someone on the team.
Something like that.
Since we're on the topic of this, we just interviewed Querétaro Spicy Rugby from Mexico, and we gave them an opportunity to ask the next team a question, and you're already kind of hitting on some of those points, so I'll ask you the question now. And the question was, what are you doing to promote inclusivity, not just within your team, but within the community that your team plays in? So what is the Phoenix Storm doing to promote acceptance and inclusivity, and how are you guys showing your representation?
Yeah, I think the best way to promote inclusion is to like unapologetically be yourself, right?
Yes.
And to show up in places and take up space and be proud of who you are. So I think honestly, just by the sheer kind of existence of the team, and we play rugby, but we also like have jobs, like we have other friends and are in other groups. So I think just us kind of taking what we really drive home, that inclusion in the team, and spreading it out to other people we know that have absolutely no interest in rugby and maybe would never come out to support, right? But still kind of driving home those values, I think, in the spaces that we already are is super important.
Awesome. That's a really good point. And I just wanted to ask, I know Arizona gets really hot, especially in the summer. How do you practice in the summer? How do you get together? I've heard Arizona summer is like the winter because everyone has to stay inside. Because it's so hot. How and when are you practicing and playing rugby without overheating?
Yeah, so during the summer, we usually give folks a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Our season runs from January to like May-ish, June, which is when it's already starting to get like 115, 120. But obviously, we're still existing during the summer. We do fundraisers and also try and just like keep the guys connected through socials. Everyone in Arizona has a pool or has access to a pool. It's like a human right in Arizona, I fear. And so, yeah, I think just like continuing to keep people engaged. I think retention is something that every team struggles with. So as much as we can keep folks engaged, even when they're not necessarily playing, we want to do that.
So you're a relatively new team. Where do you see your team 10, 15 years from now? What do you hope your team looks like then?
Yeah, so it's actually funny you asked that. So when I, actually about a year ago, this past January, we did like a sit-down strategy planning session. Like, what do we want the team to look like 5, 10 years in the future? And I honestly looked to other like queer and inclusive clubs, like the Rebellion, like the Fog, who have like absolutely insane numbers. They're bringing 3 or 4 sides to tournaments, and we're, at times sometimes struggling to fill one. And so I would love to see us continue to grow in numbers. I would love to see us continue to grow in sponsorship. We're really making a huge push in the last kind of like 6-ish months to get more like corporate sponsors. I know that a lot of other teams do a lot like with sponsors and are pretty successful at that. So I'd love to see us grow in numbers and have more money to give back to our players because that's, we like to be able to pay for our players to stay in Palm Springs and, don't want finances to be a barrier for anyone to participate. So the more money we have, the more we can invest in our players and our team.
playing rugby it's not cheap. It's all voluntary. Tournaments cost money, equipment costs money, coaching, fields. I mean, like
Team dues. You know, if you're on a rugby club, you're expected to contribute financially.
and
But that said, we don't want that to discourage anyone from joining an inclusive rugby team. You know, if you are struggling financially and that is a barrier for entry, we will work with you to make sure that you're included and that everyone gets to play.
Yeah, and I mentioned that because you spoke about corporate sponsors and stuff like that, and like in the political climate, unfortunately, that we're in right now, there's been a lot of rollbacks in corporate sponsorship, specifically for like teams like this, right? And so sometimes we depend on the generosity and support of our rugby fans, people that don't necessarily play the sport or can play the sport, or they live in an area where the sport is not available. You guys can help by donating directly to the team, whether it be the Phoenix Storm, FOG, Armada, Querétaro Rugby, the Los Angeles Rebellion. The list goes on. If you're a fan of rugby and you want to make sure that the rugby teams thrive and survive, give them a follow, engage with them on their social media, find out when they're having fundraisers, and get creative with ways that you can help them to make sure that they continue to grow and be successful.
Yeah, so Gabe, you did mention that you joined the team because you had a crush on someone, and
No longer, by the way.
No longer.
No longer.
Totally.
Wait,
totally.
hold on. Well, you're probably going to ask the question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, a lot of rugby teams now, especially inclusive rugby teams, have kind of like an official policy on intra-team dating. Does Phoenix Storm discourage it, or is it kind of just an unspoken rule? Is there any drama or any stories that you could share?
Stories I can share? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's definitely a hairy topic, especially I think because we have folks who were in a relationship prior to joining the team, and they both joined, and things like that. I think it's natural to say, oh, I'm spending so much time with these people and develop feelings. I been there, done that. Wouldn't recommend it. I think the term that people say is like, don't fuck your siblings, right? You have to spend so much time with these people, and if things get messy, which things get messy, it's not always pretty. And so I encourage people on my team, if they ask me about it, to, you can have as close of a relationship as you want. I try to maybe discourage some of the dating, but obviously if folks are gonna date, they're gonna date, and we're not gonna kick someone off the team for dating.
Yeah.
Are you guys looking forward to Brisbane Bingham Cup next year?
So unfortunately, we're not going to
What?
Bingham. It was definitely a tough decision. We fielded interest from our team. We had not enough people interested, honestly, and with everything going on in the world, folks were worried about being able to get back into the country. And so we, as a team, had the conversation and decided ultimately to protect our players. While it's very sad that we can't go, we felt it was better for our players to avoid putting anyone in any sort of situation like that. However, obviously, we told our players, if you want to go, we'll support you. There are a ton of teams that are looking for whores, we call it. Or
Rugby whore.
Rugby whore, not the way you think.
No, rugby whores are basically if you go to a rugby tournament and your team's not there, there's often a lot of other teams who maybe have lower numbers and are just looking for more players to join.
Or they have injuries and they're short one or two subs, and so the person that just offers to play for them, we refer to them as whores.
They're a whore.
Actually, I remember in Ottawa at the Bingham Cup, we played with the whore, a rugby whore, and she was on our team, and then all of a sudden she was on the other team the next match, and then she was back on our team, and then she was on the other team, and I almost passed her the ball. I was so confused.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, that's what whores do, and there's nothing wrong with it. Sex work is real work.
Correct.
Facts. Well, anyway, Gabe, thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of the Gay Rugby Podcast at Rucktacular in Palm Springs. I wanted to ask, where can we find the Phoenix Storm?
You can find us in all the places. Thank you for having me. Instagram is probably our biggest. TikTok, we have a little bit of fun. But yeah, those are kind of our main platforms.
And just at Phoenix Storm?
Phoenix Storm Rugby.
Phoenix Storm Rugby. Give them a follow. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Remember to like, subscribe, interact, leave comments, questions. If you follow us on YouTube, hit that bell so that you can get notifications when new episodes air. Jack, anything else to add?
Don't just change the sport.
Play the sport. We totally flipped that one the other way around.
Don't just play the sport.
Change the sport.
Period.
Thank you, Gabe. Thank you so much. We'll see you at the after party. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Gay Rugby Podcast. If you liked this video, do us a favor and subscribe. Hit that bell to change your preferences to notify all, and that way you'll get a notification every time a new episode comes out, which is going to be every Monday. So share this video with a friend, like, comment, and we appreciate the support. We'll catch you on the rugby pitch. See ya.